Hello, hello you, welcome or welcome back. So today we will continue to improve ourselves from the ground up. So we will start right away. Please come to kneel on both knees. Alright, and then let's choose one leg. I will choose my left leg this time and stand the toes of the leg you chose. I will stand the toes of my left foot and see how well you can stand the toes. If your toes are flexible enough so that you can stand the metatarsal pads, the big joints of your toes on the floor, or if it's just the tips of your toes standing on the floor. A moment of silence for all of us who have stiff little sticks in the place of where the toes should be. So this can happen with long-term inflammation, or if the base joints of the toes don't bend for quite a long time. And this is what we're going to do today, bend the base joints, but not yet. So just stand your foot first and see if the toes are sorted out, spread out. Give your toes a good spread if they're not spread out yet, so that there's a space in between your big toe and the second toe. And so the big toe is not pointing outwards towards the other toes, but maybe you can arrange your toes a little bit, like fan them out, so that all of them, or most of them, have a little bit of a contact with the floor. So this is the first thing we do, just to stand the toes and see how well they stand. And the first movement we are going to do in this lesson is to move the heel a little bit inside and outside. Is it to the left or to the right? Just a little bit. To move the heel, to roll from the big toe to the second toe to the third toe, to see how that goes, and back again. And you might want to help with your left hand, with one hand, to lean onto your heel and help the lower leg to turn. And if you do this, don't come down with your left hand like a steel iron claw, like a shovel excavator, but have a soft hand. Make yourself a soft hand. Keep your hand soft, like, for example, like you would help up a baby chicken. Scoop up a baby chicken very softly and help the baby chicken make its next step. This quality, just very softly touch your foot. And actually with the foot have the same quality. Don't press down your toes, but just very softly roll a little bit to the left and to the right, and see if you can already, maybe you can already stand the toes a little bit closer to your knees. So the distance between your knee and the toes, maybe you can bend your ankle a little bit more already, just by this very soft, delicate way of moving, of handling yourself with great care. Okay, and then a short rest. This was our first thing we had to do. Calm down a little bit. You can lengthen your toes on the floor, bend the toes into the other direction. You can do this often during this lesson. We will bend the toes towards the knee, but maybe sometimes you want to bend them into the other direction just to give them a rest. And then our second movement, please come to lean on your hands. So you're on your knees and shift your weight onto your right knee. So your right leg actually becomes your standing leg, and you free up your left knee. So you can lift the left knee and stand again the toes of your left foot. So your left knee is a little bit in the air, and now you can move the leg. You can move the knee. You can draw the knee towards your hands, or you can push the knee down towards your foot and keep your toes standing where they are. So when you push the knee, not push, but guide, drive, just very delicately move towards the toes. Move your knee towards the toes, to bend your toes more, to give your toes a gentle flexion. Of course, that's also a flexion. You're bending your left ankle a bit more and a little bit less, so you go back and forth. And also a little bit to the right and to the left, so you can have your weight a little bit more on the big toe, on the second toe, the third toe, fourth, fifth. How many toes are there? And aim for putting your weight in between the big toe and the second toe. So that's a good place to lean against, to put your weight against, between the big toe and the second toe. And again, maybe you want to fan out your toes a little bit so they are spread out, back and forth. And we don't do this for too long. Take a rest again. We will work with the number of repetitions, so maybe it's advisable to do this video more often, but we will keep it short and sweet. And then the third movement, we move right on to the next movement. Please stand your right leg. Stand your right leg. You can have your hands standing on the floor. Again, shift your weight more onto your right leg. And stand the toes of your left foot again and extend your left knee. So you have to lift your knee, and it's almost like bringing your left foot to standing. So this is our starting position. Half downward dog, a fake downward dog, if you will, but not as a stretch, but as a starting position to bend the knee towards the floor. So this is going to be our movement, to bend the knee and straighten the knee in order to, yes, you have guessed it, in order to bend the toes. To bend it, we come from the other direction. Before, the toes were flexed and we deflexed them, we loosened them, and now the toes are straight and we bend the toes. We come from this position where the foot is almost standing, almost straight, and you bend the toes by coming down to kneel on your left knee. And again, the quality of helping the baby chicken. Maybe another image. Maybe the image of you lean your toes onto a kitten, little kitty cat. How much weight can you bring onto a kitty cat before your leg starts to bleed? If you have ever tried to put your foot on a cat. So that's not much, yes? Not much. You can't lean too heavily, just a little bit. And also in different directions, forwards, to left, to the right, and we aim for the spot in between the big toe and the second toe. All right, and then again, take a break. Do it very short and sweet. And that's that. That's that for the left side, for the first part. And let's have a look. And just to have a look, if that already changed something, come back to standing on your knees like we did in the very beginning, to stand the toes of your left foot, and maybe you can see the toes already bend a bit more. Even though we didn't stretch, we didn't force, we didn't coerce the toes into bending more, but maybe the toes can be a little bit closer to your left knee already. Can they? Just a little bit. We go a little bit. We don't try to catch all the rabbits at once. We catch one rabbit after the other until we have all of them. So one thing I want to compare with you is the foot in standing. So please come up to stand and so we can compare the feet in standing, if these three movements did already do something. And maybe you can see the left foot might have a slightly different color than the right foot, and maybe you feel more standing on top of your left foot than on your right, maybe better supported. And also we need to check the thing in walking. So take a little step, walk a little, and see what you feel of support, how your left foot supports, how the toes of your left foot bend, and how you feel the left foot can push you forwards, because the toes are now a little bit more inclined to bend, invited to bend. Yes? Is that good? Can you feel that? That small difference that makes a difference actually in walking, in taking a step, in being flexible, in being agile on your feet. All right, so we will continue with the right foot. So please come to kneel onto your knees and stand your right foot. Just for the beginning, we will just stand there a little bit. Maybe you want to fan out your toes so that all the toes are nicely have a nice spread. And again, a moment of silence for all of us who have stiff toes. Let's hope for better times, and we'll do everything in our ability to improve the toes, to help them improve, to help them become flexible again, to come to life and to be able to be part of us again, to support us through their ability to move, to react to what we do. And also start to move your heel a little bit from the inside to the outside, and if you want to guide your heel with your right hand, just do so, but have this quality of softness, this very soft quality, not to coerce the toes into bending, but to play with them, to invite them, to see, I am, as a whole person, I'm doing this, I committed myself to this, and maybe you want to join us at the big dinner table for the grown-ups. How is that? Just a little bit, and while you play like this, maybe you can already move your toes a little bit closer to your knee. Maybe it's quite fast. The slower you go, maybe the faster it is. Except when you have like I broke my left big toe quite a while ago, and here the progress is not so fast, but for my right foot, it responds nicely. I can already put my little toe on the floor. Can you too? All right, and then the second movement, as you might remember, please come on to your hands and knees and shift your weight onto your left leg, onto your left knee, so you can free up your right knee. Lift your right knee, you're on your toes, and then move your right knee towards your toes, and the toes stay where they are, and you move, yes, drive. Maybe not drive. Maybe drive is too strong of a word, just suggest the direction towards, so the ankle, your right ankle can bend more, and the toes of your right foot can bend more or less, and roll your foot a little bit to the left and to the right, and see if you can aim at every toe, if you can even feel the difference between your third toe, your fourth toe, the small toe, the second toe, the big toe, the space in between your big toe and your second toe. All right, and then we take a break, little flexion of the foot, and the last movement, the third movement, is you have to stand your left foot, please. Stand the left foot, again the weight onto the left foot, and then we straighten the right leg, the right knee, in our fake downward dog, half downward dog, yay! And this is our starting position, and start to bend your knee, of course, with the goal of bending the toes. So when you start to bend your knee, you feel your right heel comes off the floor, and see where do you have to shift your weight. How can you make yourself comfortable? So that's a big question in life. How can I make myself comfortable in any given situation? If it's a situation that's suitable for feeling comfortable. Like this one. Should be a little movement to invite the toes to be more flexible and to move. Let's see how the toes spread. We could come from a sitting situation. You can play with your leg in your daily life when you're sitting on a chair. Just put the foot on the floor and don't bump into your limits, but just play around the area that's light and easily accessible. All right, so let's end this movement and do our test movement to stand on both knees, or to at least stand on the right knee, and bend the toes of your right foot and see if it's already bending a bit better. Who would have thought this very minimal, delicate sensible, this very nice little caring movement, like picking up a baby chicken and helping it to its next step. This already did something for the toes. And let's get up to compare. Just to stand and compare. Yes, compare how it feels like, how it feels to bend the feet, how it feels like to take a couple of steps. So here, up and down. So in my apartment it's like almost, I think 95 degrees, it's 30 degrees Celsius, the aircon isn't working anymore, there's no maintenance staff, we're still in lockdown. So I'm sweating quite a bit. And we get ready for the second part of this lesson, and the second part will be in lying down on the back. So please come to lie down on your back. Okay, so the second part of this lesson on the back, please, first of all, just lie on the floor or on your yoga mat or carpet, just for half a second. Okay, half a second passed. Stand both feet, have both feet standing. We're preparing the starting position and lift your pelvis. So lift your pelvis so you can reach for your left foot and pull your left foot underneath your pelvis. So do whatever is necessary, walk yourself so you can place your pelvis onto your left foot and see how close can you stand the toes of your left foot to your head. So here you have the strong bending of the foot and the bending of the ankle, what we did in the first part of this lesson. And again, this time we are the baby chicken. We want to be handled with care. So try to take stress out wherever you can. Just try to ease into this position. And the first movement, push the heel downwards, away from your head. So the knee will come up a little bit closer to the ceiling. Or pull your ankle, pull your heel closer towards your head behind you. So your left knee will come closer to the floor. So go back and forth with this movement. So you're bending your toes actually more or less. You're bending your toes more or less. Yeah, very similar to before, but higher level, more difficult, because it can be more stressful. So take it a centimeter, half an inch at a time. Just move very slowly back and forth. So you can press with both thumbs against your heel to move your heel away from your head, or use both hands to pull your ankle, your heel closer to your head behind you, back and forth. So that's our first movement. We won't overdo it. We will just go into it shortly and then lower yourself to the floor again and stretch out. We don't want to trigger problems. We don't want to create problems. We just go through this movement sequence smoothly. And maybe we need to do it often to have the progress we want through repetition. Like water drips on a stone and eventually the water will shape the stone. Let's give the left foot a little rest and work with the right foot. Please stand your feet again, lift your pelvis, and this time pull your right foot underneath your pelvis. And see how close can you bring your right foot, the toes of your right foot, towards your head behind you. And do the same movement. Pull your right heel closer to your head, up, or push your right heel further away from your head. So you move the heel, your right heel, back and forwards. And of course, this moves your knee in response. So the toes bend, the ankle opens and closes, and your knee in response moves up and down. And see how we can make this somehow more comfortable. I mean, that's asked a lot, isn't it? But maybe how can you be comfortable in this situation? To move the heel back and forth, back and forth. All right, again, we won't overdo it. Lower your pelvis, extend your legs, take a short rest. So maybe one side was easier than the other, wasn't it? And stand your legs again, lift your pelvis. This time again, pull your left foot underneath your pelvis and see, maybe that's already a little bit better than the first time. So there is progress actually. And what do we have? Forwards, backwards, left and right. So move your heel, your left heel, a little bit to the left and to the right. Again, so you roll more towards your little toe and more towards your big toe, left and right. The heel towards your midline, you could say the midline, the heel to the midline that's in between your butt cheeks, the midline in between your butt cheeks, the intergluteal cleft, or as we could say, short butt crack. So to the, maybe your heel, maybe you can position your heel on your midline or not, just see how far can you move your foot left and right. And again, not too much, release everything, bring your pelvis down, lengthen your legs, and then lift your pelvis up again, and this time pull your right foot underneath your pelvis, stand the toes of your right foot, see, okay, you can rest your pelvis on your right foot, and then the right heel to the right and to the left. The right heel to the right and to the left means towards the midline. And see how far can you move your right foot to the right and to the left. And no time to lose. Lower your pelvis again, lengthen your legs. So this is fast. Again, stand your feet, lift your pelvis, pull your left leg, your left foot underneath your pelvis. We had forwards and backwards, left and right. What's next? Yes, you guessed it, circles. So move your heel, your left heel in circles, left and right, big circles, small circles, fast circles, slow circles. See where can you bring, to which areas can you bring your left heel, and how far can your left knee already come down to the floor. So maybe you're very flexible, maybe your left knee can touch the floor. Congratulations. So you can focus more on the details. There's always more to explore. So it's not just about flexibility, but about, do you know when your heel is where? And what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths? In which area it's easy? Can you stand your foot in between your big toe and your second toe? Do you feel the support of this little area? Okay, and then lower your pelvis, lengthen your legs, and lift your pelvis, stand your feet, pull your right heel underneath your pelvis, and move your right heel forwards and backwards, right and left, and circles. And see what are the differences in between your right leg and your left leg, and observe when you focus on your heel moving, are you aware of where your knee is going, your right knee? So when you pull your right heel closer to your head, the knee is going down, maybe it touches, and then when you push the right heel away, the right knee is coming up again. And when you push your right heel to the left, the knee is going to the right, and when you push your heel to the right, you can bring your knee to the left, and then that's circles of the knee actually. And again, bring everything down, come to lie on the floor, enjoy the flatness. We turned ourselves into a flatbread. And let's do one last thing. Stand your feet again, bring up your pelvis, bring your left foot underneath your pelvis, stand your pelvis onto your left heel, and this time instead of moving the foot, we move the pelvis. So keep your left heel in place, maybe with both hands, grab your left heel with both hands and move your pelvis to the left and to the right. So position your pelvis next to your foot and then bring your pelvis up, and maybe you can position your left heel in between your butt cheeks, your beautiful butt, left and right, onto the midline and the intergluteal cleft. Yes, and see, pelvis right and left. See, can you do this? Can your knee handle this? Be careful. Again, the chicken, the baby chicken scooping very. We want to move with it. We want to establish a certain quality with which we handle, with which we live ourselves, not handle ourselves, but which we move ourselves. Okay, and then pelvis down. Wow, this made a big difference. Whoa. Change the whole left side. Same thing on the right side. Again, stand both feet, lift your pelvis up, bring your right foot underneath your pelvis, hold your right heel in place and just move your pelvis so the pelvis is to the left of your right foot and to the right. So your right heel can touch in between your glorious butt cheeks. And we have forwards and backwards. So let's see if we can belly dance around in the right heel. So these are the things we need to become able today. We need to skillfully improve. Please play with these movements, learn these movements by heart, or do this video often. Play with this video until you're very comfortable with these movements, and then we can continue this sequence from the ground up. But now we need to come up. We cannot stay resting on the floor. Wow, but it's really nice on the floor. It's really nice to be on the back like this. And my knees are fine. Yes, I feel them a little bit. I did a little bit too much. How about you? Did you take good care of yourself? Then you should feel amazing. So please come up let's come up on our knees first and see how we can stand how that changed, the first thing. So come to stand on your knees and stand the toes of your right foot and see how well you can bend the toes of your right foot, how much you know about this position, how close your toes are to your heel, how well you can roll over your toes, and then also the left foot. So my left big toe was broken, so that requires a bit more patience and a bit more work, but I see there was something happening. It's not responding. There's some improvement, so I'm happy for that. Okay, and then come, yes, how is it? Leave your comments below so I can read about your success or disappointment, but I hope it's a success and improvement. And then please come up to stand and let's have a look at our feet in standing. Yes, and see how your feet feel in standing, how well the toes bend, how aware you are of your legs, how your legs work now from the ground up, how this of course integrates into your back that was part of lying on the heels on the floor, and see how you can swivel yourself forward, how all this works now, how it is to walk like a person who's 20 years younger suddenly, the legs who work again. So if that's something you enjoy, just like I enjoy. Okay, so it was wonderful to have you. It was my pleasure to present this sequence to you. So thank you for watching, and you stay classy, San Diego. That was the wrong line. Why did you put it on a teleprompter? There is no teleprompter. Well, what do you know?